playing on Saturday morning. We were playing Quebec at 9 o'clock. Playing Quebec in Nashville is tough enough. The Sampson at night, but the Sampson men play at 9 a.m. between the Belmont and Lipscomb game made it even tougher. On the Saturday morning, we jumped out to 7-0 lead. We were feeling pretty good about ourselves and about the game. But for some reason, Van had a tough time that day. The game went from 7-1 to 7-3, and the bases were loaded. So I made the trip out to the mound. I put my hand on Van's shoulder, asked him how he felt. And of course, all pitchers, when you go out to the mound, they say, I feel fine, coach. Everything's going to be okay. So anyway, I went back to the dugout, and he walked the next batter. Made a score 7-4. I looked at Coach Kirk and I said, Coach Kirk, I'm going to go give him a hook. Coach Kirk said, no, Charlie, just give him one more time. Next pitch, the score went from 7-4 to 7. So Coach Kirk and I, we still looking at each other about that. Van and I still looking at each other about that. Since graduation, Van has been very supportive of athletic review and baseball program. When I was athletic director here, I would have different former athletes come back and throw out the first pitch. Asked Van if he would do that, and he gladly accepted it. Well, Van, he got over in the bullpen and started warming up. You know how it is to see someone throwing a ball out at a Major League ball game on TV. They put them out in front of the mound, and they may throw the ball to the catcher in the dirt. They may throw it a little wide out the run, jump and do it and so forth. But no, Van, to the catcher's surprise, Van went on the mound. He took the lineman and he threw fastball to the catcher. And of course, the players on both teams enjoyed that, and they were asking if the fan had any more eligibility. The success that Van had in baseball was not limited to college. He was a member of the Manila team that was runner-up in the Philippines National Baseball Championship, and was selected to the visiting men's league state all-tournament team in 1986. Sorry, Van, I don't have any highlight film to show. You know, I don't have any. I didn't think about bringing any former athletes in to talk about it, which that might have been good. But this time, as my president, we asked Van Kalinisan to come to the podium to accept his all-time. Administration here at Freed Hardeman University, and on behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, we gladly accept you in the Freed Hardeman University Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach. You know, what Coach Smith doesn't realize is, he had mentioned it, when a coach comes to the mound and asks the pitcher how he's doing, even if the base is loaded and nobody out, the pitcher always feels he's going to pop up and a ground ball with a double play and be out of the game. I'm no different than any other pitcher. There's an automatic response, I'm okay, Coach, I feel fine. But the story reminds me of a Major League Baseball pitcher that I'd heard that Coach came out, the pitcher was getting roughed up in the middle innings of the game. Coach came out and said, how do you feel? He said, I'm okay, Coach, I feel fine. He said, well, I'm going to take you out. I said, but Coach, I said I feel fine. I'm not tired. He said, but our outfielders are. It's always nice to read the Freed Hardeman. Through the years, that I've been amazed at how the university has grown. And hopefully I say some of these names right. My wife talked about this. seen buildings such as the Brown Copeland Building, the new sports center that we're in, the Pruitt Book Center. These are all buildings that weren't here. Also, the enrollment. The college is growing. It's getting recognized. It's a lot better press coverage now when it comes to the times that I played. So it's great to see the college advancing. The current baseball field is one where the players that played with me would be very proud to play on. The infield's like a carpet. Nothing like the field that we played on. Over the past 5 to 6 years, I've had the pleasure of playing in the annual alumni game. But about 2 years ago, I almost stopped coming. I had thrown 2 innings in a game, and after the game was over, I was headed back to my vehicle in the parking lot when 2 college freshmen, little girls, hollered at me. I stopped, I had my bags in my hand, so I started walking toward them. I met them halfway as they walked toward me. And one of the girls said, "Hey, I saw you pitching the game. You did really good." I said, "Thank you." Because I wanted to tell you, you look just like my dad. Not knowing what to say, I asked her, I said, "Did your dad play here?" She said, "No, he just has the same gray hair on the side of his head." What I'd like to do is rename the alumni game the old timers game. I think it'd be a lot more appropriate. On a serious note, I'd first like to thank Coach Smith, Coach Kirk for bringing me to Fried-Hardeman. Actually, I'd like to thank the Lord for giving me the ability to throw baseball in the first place. Coach Smith and Coach Kirk for bringing me to Fried-Hardeman. Thank everyone in the Hall of Fame committee. I don't know what the process is involved in order to get somebody in the Hall of Fame committee. I'm very appreciative of that. It's truly an honor to be among others who have achieved great things in athletics for Fried-Hardeman. I'd like to thank my wife, Rachel, my daughter, Sydney, my son, Samuel, my mom, Barbara Kalinisan, my dad, Jose Kalinisan, my mother-in-law, Miss Jamie Dillon, longtime friend, Rick Ortiz. Since I've lived in Tennessee, I've been asked constantly in the past 30 years, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm going to explain that now. Traveled many miles to get to Fried-Hardeman. See, I grew up a military brat. My father served 23 years in the U.S. Navy. He's from the Philippine Islands. So during the 23 years that he was in, it was my entire growing up period. We moved every 2 to 4 years. Shortly after I was born in 1962 in Pensacola, Florida, we stayed in Florida until 1965. We headed to NAS QD Point, Philippines, back to where my father was from. 1968 to 1972, we moved to Point Loma, California. It was there that I learned how to throw a baseball. See, my dad never played the game, but he loved to watch the Los Angeles Dodgers on TV. We'd go to games when we could, and we watched them constantly. Little did I know he was studying the pitchers. He became a student of the game. So every day after school, we'd throw what started out a little rubber ball at 6 years old on the side of the house. Gradually, it evolved into a regular baseball. You see, when I was a kid, there was no such thing as t-ball or coach pitch. You played in a 6-year-old league, and you had a 6-year-old pitcher on the mound. My dad would catch me until he couldn't catch. My dad would catch me until the street lights came on, or when my mother would tell us to come in. As I got older and started throwing harder, he became friends with the parents of the catcher. So that when they'd come over to visit, I'd have a catcher to go to. Dad, thanks for teaching me the mechanics of pitching. And Mom, she came to every game, served at all the team functions, and always had the title of Team Mom. She's one of the most strong-willed people you will ever meet. Mom, thank you for giving me the fight, determination, support, and courage to never give up in anything I do. I missed Point Loma when we moved, but I'm glad I lived there. In 1972, we found ourselves going back across the Pacific Ocean to Atsugi, Japan. Here's where I learned the discipline of baseball. The respect the Japanese had for the game of baseball was intense. Seeing players sprint off the field after innings, remove their caps and form a semicircle around their coach to listen for instructions. It was their way of showing respect to the game and their coach. I missed Japan when we left there, but I'm glad we lived there. In 1976, we found ourselves going south of Japan to Subic Bay, the Philippines, back to where my father was from. Because there were only 2 seasons in the Philippines, rainy season and summer, what I'd like to say is hot and hotter. You could play baseball year-round there. Attending Georgia Union High School, had the privilege of pitching in a game against International School in Manila for the nation's championship, just to fall short in Rizal Memorial Stadium. I missed Subic Bay when we left there, but I'm glad I went there. Found ourselves back in California in 1978, my junior year of high school. At Rio Mesa, I learned how competitive the game can be. My head coach had pitched in the minor leagues in pro baseball, so my knowledge of a pitcher became from just being a thrower to becoming a pitcher. 6-1 record helped Rio Mesa High School win its first Frontier League championship that year. I missed Rio Mesa when I left there, and I'm glad I lived there. In 1979, we moved to NAS Millington, which is right outside of Memphis, my senior year of high school. I again was a new kid on the block, having to prove myself against the players that had played together since elementary school. It was there that Coach Jeff Hopkins came to several games and offered me a spot on the Jackson State baseball team. I missed Millington when I left there, and I'm glad I lived there. Before attending Jackson State, I was picked to play for the 1980 Millington Telephone American Legion team, sponsored by Bay Highland. When all was said and done, we played 70 games that summer, won the Memphis District Championship, the West Tennessee Championship, the State Championship, before falling to Lawton, Oklahoma, 1-0 in the Mid-South Regional Tournament at Tim Carver Stadium. 1982 to 84, Jackson State. Here's where I realized that no matter what you did in your high school days, you were now amongst other players that excelled in the game. Through Coach Hopkins' contacts, I had the privilege of pitching against teams such as Ole Miss and Memphis State University. Over the 2-year span, it taught me that for a pitcher, a ground ball or a pop-up was just as good as a strikeout. I missed Jackson State when I left there, but I'm glad I went there. 1982 to 84. I came to Freed-Hardeman after attending nothing but Department of Defense schools, public schools, a state college. I'd been to 4 different high schools in 3 different countries and in 2 different states. I quickly learned the atmosphere that FHU shares, the family atmosphere, and the importance of God in our lives. In fact, I was baptized here in the winter of 1983 by Brother Earl Edwards in Bats Creek. Coach Smith, the first time he handed me a game ball before I took the mound, told me, do what you've always done. You already know how to pitch. Made a lot of friends at Freed-Hardeman. I lost some friends at Freed-Hardeman. I missed Freed-Hardeman when I left here, but I'm glad I came here. In closing, I'd like to address my kids. Siggy, Samuel. Kids, in your sports endeavors, you may not be the fastest, you may not be the strongest, you may not be the tallest. As Coach Smith said, your dad was 5 foot 8 inches tall and a good hairhead, and 150 pounds fully dressed. But as the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Thank you so much.